I divided my time to divide both of the minds. Not in the sense of on this shit like when they say that one's mine. You gotta open your mind so it can open your eyes. And I'm promoting that opening cause I'm noticing potent. As if epiphany's hitting me cause I'm speaking unholy. They're chasing diamonds and rollers, they chasing Rarries and roll. Wait in my business to focus, make it your business to focus. Cause if you know this you're not alone, if you are the
Hello, everyone. This is Civilized Eyes Podcast. We thank you for joining. Civilized Eyes Podcast is established to guide and educate the public and to understanding blindness and blind-related subjects, but it is not limited to those items. We talk about a little bit more than that on here. Today I am your host, Darian Tucker and Gabriel.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Gabriel Bruce, and I'm your co-host on today.
Yes, and we have a guest. Want to briefly introduce her, Gabriel.
Yes, we have Miss Shanika Kinsworth on our podcast tonight, and she's a veteran banker in the fraud department at our local bank here, CBNT. And we know that we are in this season where a lot of fraud is occurring. And we asked would she come on and educate not only us who are visually impaired, but others who may have a need for education. And so we thank her for joining us tonight, and we look forward. Welcome for joining us, and we look forward to be educated tonight because I don't know about you, Dare, but I need education. I'm saving a little bit of pennies that I do. Have.
Education, helps us make the best decisions and the things that we seek to do. Do you have any? We have any announcements?
Other than please share this broadcast. If you're watching our video, please subscribe and follow and hit that notification bell. Subscribe, like our videos, and go back and watch some of the old videos and catch up and binge and join us each and every Sunday night at 7:00 as we come together as a unit and help educate each other.
Right. Okay. And like you said, I think we go live on the podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you hit that all the current notification settings down there and turn on all, you will be updated every time we go live. So now let's get into the guest introduction and presentation about financial safety for people.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Shaniqua Killingsworth. Again, I've been in banking for over 20 years here at our local community bank, Community Banking Trust. And over the fraud department, I see so much of it happening in the banking area, and I'm sure around the world. So I just want to talk a little bit about different types of fraud, financial exploitation concerning elderly and the disability. So hopefully the information that I have will be very helpful to everyone today and who's watching or hearing. With over 50 million Americans aged 62 and older, and those of disability, older adults and persons of disabilities are prime targets for financial exploitation, both by person they know and trust and by strangers. Financial exploitation has been called the crime of the 21st century, with one study suggesting that the older Americans lost about $2.9 million in financial exploitation by a broad spectrum of perpetrators in 2010. So, if that was that much in 2010, you can only imagine what it is in 2022. A key factor in some cases of elderly and persons of disability financial exploitation is mild cognitive impairment, which can diminish an older adult's ability to make sound financial decisions. This epidemic is under the radar. The cases tend to be very complex and can be difficult to investigate and prosecute. Elders and those of disability who lose their life savings usually have little or no opportunity to regain what they have lost. Elder and a person of disability financial abuse can result in the loss of the ability to live independently, decline in health. They have broken trust with even their family members. So a lot of times those who defraud us can be those who are close by us or close to us and those who we don't know. Awareness and prevention is the first step. So I'm so glad that you all asked me to come on because it brings awareness to those of elderly and to those of disability. Planning ahead for financial well-being and the possibility of diminished financial capacity is crucial. Reporting and early prevention that result in loss prevention is imperative. So I'm so excited to be on to help in any way that I can. So I'm just going to go over some things. What is financial exploitation? It is the fraudulent or otherwise illegal, unauthorized, or improper actions by caregiver, other individual in which the resources of an elderly person or a person of disability are used by another for financial profit or gain, or action that result in depriving an older person or a person of disability of benefit, resources, belongings, or assets to which are entitled to. Praise. So that's what financial exploitation is.
Okay.
Let's see. Older adults may have regular incomes or accumulated assets. So you may have regular incomes that are coming in. Person that have a disability have regular incomes that are coming in. They can be trusted. Many of us trust the elderly and the person with disability come around trusting, having trust, and they can be polite. They can be lonely or socially isolated. They become vulnerable due to grief from loss of a spouse, family member, friend, or pet. So these are why they are being targeted. A lot of times people with disability and that are elderly are targeted because they feel this way. Some of the scams that are around now and you'll be surprised how many people yield to these type of frauds. We have the online dating scam. You meet someone, especially on online dating website. Then they'll soon ask you to move off a website, and then you start communicating. That person, he or she, can tell you that they love you, and they live far away from you, knowing that they're never going to see you. They ask you for money. Many of them would tell you, "Hey, I need money. Our light's about to be cut off." They tell you about their grandmother who is sick. They tell you about their mother who is sick, and then you yield or you give money away because you sympathize with that person. Communication is everything. So once they have gain your trust through communication, you all talk about things, laugh about different things, and that's how they gain your trust. and they gain your trust and they convince you to send money. So you have to be very careful when it comes to dating someone online, dating someone you've never seen, dating someone that live far away. They convince you to send money, to wire money out, to Western Union money out. And let me say, a while back, Western Union got into a lot of trouble because they knew people were sending money to people that were scamming them. And they were fined a big fine by the Federal Trade Commission because they knew people was being scammed and they would send money to the fraudsters. So they will ask you to send money. So we just want to be very careful when it comes to online dating and passing out money to those who know that they have no good intention for you. Another type of scam is like the grandkid scam. I had they would call, and we had a customer. This is true stories, and a lot of these I would talk about true stories that happen in our bank where someone targeted one of our customers who was an elderly customer, and they told her that her granddaughter, was in trouble. They knew everything about her. They knew that her granddaughter was in the military. They knew where she was stationed at in the military. And they preyed off of that to convince her to wire money. When she came into the bank, she was saying, I have to wire money to my granddaughter. She is in trouble. And right then a red flag came up to one of our customer service representatives. They came to me, and then I began to ask our customer questions. And I asked her, had she spoken with her granddaughter? She said no. And so instantly I contacted the person that was on the account with her, which was her daughter, who didn't live with her. She lived in another state. And she said, yes, my daughter is in the service. And so when she then in turn called her daughter, and her daughter said, no, I haven't called and asked for any money. So we must be careful even when people call us, because what they would do is call you and they will have that information concerning a family member. So we must be very careful when you answer the phone and they know something about your family member. You need to quickly hang up with that individual and call the family member that they say is in trouble, to make sure that it is not that person, because I'm telling you, they will scam you out of your hard-earned money. So be aware of the scammers who are calling you on the other line. They will convince you to send money. And this lady was about to wire money. It was to another country, to someone in another country. And I can't remember the dollar amount they was asking for, but she was about to send that money because she thought her granddaughter was in danger, and they knew all the information. Sometimes they can hack into your computers. We must be very careful when we click on different links on your computer. Make sure you're not clicking on links. And they can freeze your computer as well. They can stop your computer and they will hold your computer ransom. So we must be very careful when it comes to that, when we're clicking on different links and they will ask you to pay money. I would say if you have a desktop, if you click on something and you see somebody, or you notice, or someone in your family notice something is moving in your system that you don't know, someone else has gained control of your computer, unplug it immediately from the wall. Unplug it, and then have someone to come into your home and look at it to set up different protection firewalls to try to protect you or prevent you from being scammed by someone by clicking on a link. Let's get back into it. We have the lottery and sweepstakes scams. I've seen this so many times where people receive a letter saying that they've won money, but they never played the lottery. And we all know in Georgia, You have to go to the store and play the lottery. You got to buy off. You got to play the numbers. So we know that, but a lot of people fall for it because they are so in need of money. A lot of times the crooks prey on those in certain areas. Certain people they prey on. They know people in certain, they know the area that are in poverty. So they would send these letters to these different neighborhoods saying, hey, you've won money. You have inherited money from a long lost relative and they want you to have it. But in order for you to get this money, I'm sending you money. I'm sending you $8,000. But out of that $8,000, I want you to send me back for the taxes and for handling the business. So my question is always to the customers, because the customers really fall for it because they are so in need of money that they fall for it and deposit it into their checking account. But us as bankers, we must protect the customer. So a lot of times we will hold the funds or we don't take the check at all because we know it is a scam. So when someone asks you to send money back, they're giving you $8,000, but they want you to send $6,000 back. What sense does that make? So we must think logically to say, hey, why are you giving me money to send money back? Why you just didn't keep the $6,000 you send to me, or the money you send to me? So you have to be very careful because they really try to convince you, and they have this letter and they send it FedEx or they send it by UPS. They send it certified. So we must be very careful not to fall for that. So if you know that you have never played the lottery, you didn't go down to the store, if you didn't do that, you have not won anything. So before you deposit those funds into your checking account, into your bank account, don't do it. Think long and hard, because if you know you've won, they put the numbers on the television every night. So if you know you got the winning number, you know where to go. You can go to Atlanta or to Columbus. Nobody need to send you an $8,000 check and ask you to give it back. We know with Georgia lotteries or those that states that participate in the lottery, they automatically tax you money before you even get the real check if you have won your millions or your thousands. Yeah. So you have to be very careful when someone send you a letter saying that you have won the lottery or the sweepstakes. We know the sweepstakes, I forget the name of the one that's real big, that's on television. They have now stolen
Post and Clearinghouse.
Yeah. Yeah. They have taken their identity saying, hey, you won. And so we just have to be very careful concerning that. Let's see what else we have over here. And you also, when you are sending money, whether you unaware or not, you become a money mule. And let me tell you what a money mule is. A money mule is an individual who transferred funds in any manner on behalf of or at direction of another. So someone is telling you, hey, send this money to me. So they're using different channel, and you are that money mule. You are that mule that is sending money from one place to another. Money mules are recruited by criminals to move funds via a variety of methods, including physical cash, bank transfer, money services businesses, prepaid cards, and cryptocurrencies. Individual acting as a money mule may have received unsolicited emails or other communication containing to job offer promises, making easy money, have been requested to open bank accounts. That's another thing. So many people are open bank accounts to house it as a money mule account. Have been requested to open bank accounts in their name or the name of a business they have created, and have been asked to receive funds and then forward all of the portion of the funds to another individual. Individual may be solicited for money mule activity via confidence fraud, romance fraud, employment scams, lottery scams, or through any number of internet-enabled scams. The internet is becoming the big operation for scam. So we must pay attention and have our eyes open to this. Anyone is able to be recruited by a money mule. However, targeted population, including the elderly, college-age students, newly immigrated individual, cyber expertise or knowledge is not required. The money mule will be directed on which banks to go into, how many or what type of accounts to open, how much money should be included in each withdrawal. So we got to be very careful. So people, they don't care who they target. They target those who are in need of money. And many of the victims need the money. So that's how they become money mule. Okay. So we've got to think twice before we agree to open up bank accounts for people. And I see it every day. I see it every day. People come in being defrauded, clicking on links, falling for someone. I had an individual who came into the bank and she took money from her 401k, her hard-earned money that she was saving up. So when she retires, that she have money to live off of. She starts sending it to someone who she claimed was her fiance. She was helping him out. And so she started sending her own money. And I had to say, no, we're not wiring out any money for you no longer. I think we did one or two wires. And then that's when we start asking questions like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening? I think it was at one of our branches. And they started being concerned. It was like, something's not right. When you get that intuition, that feeling within you, something is not right, you act on it because truly something is not right. So let us make sure that we're paying attention to those type of things. Another thing that we must be aware of is power of attorney or fiduciary abuse. So a person who is named to manage your money or property is a fiduciary. He or she has the duty to manage your money and property for your benefit. However, he or she may abuse that power. So I'm not trying to, say that the person next to you is abusing you, but those that are watching, we must be aware of those who we appoint as our power of attorney. Do we trust that person? Have that person been around long? And a lot of time, whether we want to believe it or not, a lot of those who are close to us, not trying to plant a seed or anything, normally sometimes can abuse our money. So we must be aware and make sure that the person you appoint is trustworthy and honest. So you can change that person at any time if you feel that your money is not being used for your for good, so just make sure that you are comfortable with the person who is over your money. Let's see. And we can be abused by caregivers. If your wife has to work, or if your daughter has to work and that person or your mother or anybody who is your caregiver who is taking care of you and they have to work, but they set someone over you, we must make sure that we are protected. And those of us who are watching who is over or who is the power of it, who's over that person money, and we are paying someone to watch over our loved ones, make sure we pay close attention to that person. Make sure that you secure all your valuables, just such as your jewelry, your property, because many caregivers come in and they can take from you. So make sure you are securing everything. Secure your financial documents, including checks, your financial statements, and your credit cards. So make sure these items are put away when a caregiver comes into your home. Require receipts for purchase made by any helper, anyone that comes in your home that wants to help you. Make sure that you require receipts. Make sure if you are the power of attorney or the person over the fiduciary over the person that are an elderly person or a person of disability, make sure you monitor bank accounts and your telephone bills. So we just want to make sure that we are looking over every financial document. Make sure you never lend employees money or personal properties. If that person is there to care for you, make sure they're to care for you. Okay? So never let caregivers use your credit card or debit card. That is one of my biggest things that I have out of a person who is that's not a family member, that's not the power of attorney, that's not the fiduciary, that the person, the elderly person, give their debit card and their credit card to their caregiver. We must be very careful not to do that, because a lot of time it tempts them to go and do other things other than what they're supposed to do. So make sure you are not handing out valuable information. Let's see. We also going to look at, we talked about the telephone scam. We talked about the lottery scams. We talked about the sweepstakes scams. We want to look at imposters. I don't know if many of you watch the news. We have people that imposters, they play like they're the IRS. They play like they're the utility bill people. You know, we know that the IRS and the utility bill people will not call you to harass you to pay your bill. If you are behind or if you owe the IRS, you know, they're not going to call you. They're going to send letters. They're going to send certified letters asking you to pay or to make arrangement to pay whatever debt you owe. So they're never going to call to force you to pay anything. And a lot of the imposters are asking customers to go out and buy these green dot cards. Or they may say, hey, put this app. They'll ask you to sign on and put an app on your phone where they are doing gift card apps. They're doing everything. You will be so surprised what come across my desk, what kind of fraud they are doing or ways for the people to pay out money. So they're asking you to go buy these green dot cards, scratch off the number on the back and call it out, or to email it to them, or to text it to them. They have all this information that they want to do. So the imposters who are pretending to be the IRS or to pretending to be the utility bill company, or they even pretend to be the police officers. None of them actually calls you to pay anything. So just be aware of that. Be aware of that. Don't get in a panic. Don't be like, oh my goodness, I got to pay out this money. No, you do not, because know that if anybody call you forcing you to pay anything, they are an imposter. They are trying to scam you out of your money. So stay alert on that. Another big identity theft is the Social Security Administration. They will pretend to be that. Be very careful not to give your Social Security number out over the phone to anyone. So you must be aware of this type of scam. I've had where people, Social Security was supposed to hit their account on the 1st, on the 3rd, or the 2nd Wednesday of the month, the 3rd Wednesday of the month, or the 4th Wednesday of the month, and they did not receive it because someone else had shifted their money into someone else's bank account. I also work in the back office operation side of it. What I do is monitor certain accounts. And if someone else's money go into somebody else's account, I am obligated to send that money back, because we have to be aware if it's not Cable's Bruce's money, and it does not have Cable Bruce's a name on that account and it's Social Security, that's a red flag. So we, even as bankers, have to be very careful, and we must pay attention to certain things when it comes to, especially the Social Security benefits. So people will shift your benefits. Once they call you, they pretend to be someone that they are not. So be very careful. Make sure, again, like I say, you paying attention to your financial documents, your statements that come through the mail. If your loved one is able to sign into your internet banking, make sure they are paying attention to your money. So another big thing, Social Security, they will try to scam you out of your paycheck. And during the pandemic, we saw a lot of scams. We saw a lot of people losing their benefits because someone else had shifted the money. They had shifted the money. So we must be aware of these different types of scams. Let's see. It's another thing I just wanted to go over. And I don't know if any of you are homeowners or anything. And if you own your home, a lot of time, like the elderly, they have the reverse mortgage scam. So we got to be very careful when paying out lump sums. When it comes to borrowing money against your home, make sure that, I would say, stay away from it. Some people want to do it, but I would say stay away from it because it will cause you to lose your home. So make sure you are aware of all kinds of different scams, the internet scam. We also have medical identification theft. Protect your Medicare. If you have Medicare, protect your Medicare and other health insurance cards the same way you would protect your credit cards. Review your Medicare summary notices, explanation of benefits, statements, and medical bills for suspicious charges. People will even try to defraud your Medicare. So make sure you're paying attention to that. If you find incorrect information in your records, insist that it be corrected or removed. Only give personal information to Medicare-approved doctors, other providers, and suppliers such as state health insurance assistance programs or senior Medicare patrol programs or the Social Security. So I'm sure you all have that information if you are on Medicaid or Medicare. Be aware of offers of free medical equipment, services, or goods in exchange for your Medicare number. Do not give out your Medicare number to people that you do not know. Shred papers with your medical identity before putting them in the trash. I'm telling you, people will go through trash cans. They will go through your mail. I always tell people, if you're paying a bill, don't put it in your mailbox. It has become another way to get identity theft, have another way of identity theft. People will take your mail. If you have that red flag up, they would take your mail. If you have a check inside of there, they would take that check, get the routing number and account number, and create a whole new check with your information on it. So if you're paying money or paying a bill and you want the post office, the post person to pick it up at the mailbox, if you're doing it, stop. If you're doing it that way, you're paying your bill that way, stop it today. Because people are going around to see if that red flag is up, and they're taking that bill, they're taking that check and creating other different checks. They're making new checks with that routing number and account number. I've even had it where they have erased the pen and put that name, their name on there to come up to the bank to cash it. We have arrested so many people doing that. And again, some of them will get mules. Again, we go back to the money mule. We go back to that person who some of them know that they are being a mule, because they'll say, hey, buddy, if you take this check up here and cash it, I'll give you a portion of this money. So that person at that point become a mule. They're desperate for money. So they write the check out for $2,000. And he say, hey, I'm going to give you $500 of this $2,000. And they become that money mule. They become that person who goes to the bank, present that fake check, or present that real check with the customer's real signature on it, and stand there and get it cashed. But as employees, like the teller who is cashing that check, must pay close attention before they cash out their check. And we have had several people to be arrested by being a money mule, and they go down for the fall by being somebody else's mule. So if you are paying money, paying your bills through the mailbox, take it to the post office yourself and drop it in the box. That is the safest way to do it. Don't put your money, don't put your bills in your mailbox, because I'm telling you, people are watching for those red flags that are going up on the mailbox. Let's see. I'm going to get ready to end it. So in case you all have any questions, you are welcome to ask me, and I'll do my very best to answer those questions for you. So if you feel like you are a victim, or if you feel like you are being exploited, then there is a number that you can call, and it's our aging and disability network that we have to protect from financial exploitation. And that number you can call is at 1-866-552-4464. And that would get you straight to someone who can help you. If you feel like you have been a part of identity theft, you can reach out to the Federal Trade Commission with identity theft, and that number is 1-877-438-4338, and it will get you exactly what you need. Also, reach out to your 3 credit bureau people. We already know, if you don't know who they are, we got Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You want to put a freeze on your credit. If you feel like you have been a part of identity theft, especially if you have given out your social security number and your date of birth. So I'm going to open it back up to you all. I hope I have been helpful. I tried to wrap it up and so I wouldn't be long-winded. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing this information with us. And me, myself, have found it very informative, because a lot of situations we have heard you speak about on tonight, we have found ourselves in. I know a lot of times I have found myself in some of those situations. And it makes me think now, because I think about who really know, by me being blind and have to have other people use ATMs and things for me. I know my wife, my kids, and a couple family members, but my PIN number. But even to that extent, to just always be aware. But my first question is, and then Darren, he can come in and ask some questions also. Now, knowing that we are having a lot of the shift going to a lot of the apps, the technology wise with apps, what's your take on using those apps, such as the Cash Apps, the Venmos, and other things, versus going into your branch itself, and what would be the liability versus if we lose on one of those platforms versus a traditional bank?
Okay. So I would say Cash App is okay, but I would say a lot of fraud happened through Cash App. Someone could go in and like I said, you can click on a link even on your phone and they can get into your phone. I just recently had a young lady who clicked on a link that she thought it was Microsoft. They told her to download an app and they got into her Cash App. It's one thing about Cash App. Once you click on it, they can go straight into it. You don't have like something where you can put a pin in, but it is a place on your phone where you have to have it where it can be face recognition before anybody can get into your app. So that's one thing you want to look at on your phone, where it recognizes if you have Cash App or if you have Venmo. Venmo is, to me, I believe is a safe one. A lot of people go through their banks, one of the larger banks, through Venmo, so it makes it easier. And they ask a whole lot of questions before you are able to send out money to someone. You have to know that person. They ask you all kinds of questions. They're going to ask you, are you sure? Do you know this person? But with Cash App, it just goes out completely. If you lose money, if you willingly give that information to someone, then you basically lose that money. And the reason why I say that is because let's say if you come into the branch or into your bank and let's say you take out $1,000 and you take it out and you hand it to the imposter, you cannot get that money back. It is out of your hand because you willingly gave it to them. So if you willingly gave them your debit card information, if you willingly sent them that money, then you have lost that money. So you have to be very careful before you give out that money or before you agree to anything but you can on these apps, because we ask that question. We have to go through training ourselves. There's a way where you in your settings can do face recognition before you send out money, or you have to have a code before you send out that money, because once that person get into your phone, if let's say they so happen to get into your phone, before they can do anything with Cash App or Venmo, they have to have like your face recognition, or they have to have a PIN. So I hope I answered your question.
Okay. Darian? Okay, while he's coming on. We also see now with the pandemic, and I can personally witness to this that.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead. I'm sorry, Darian.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First of all, I just want to, thank you for that wonderful presentation of that of the risk factors and key factors of identifying fraud. My question, I have like two, maybe three. And the first two is, how was the study on the risk factors and key factors of fraud and people with elderly and the people with disabilities? How was that? What was the source of that study, and how was that study conducted? How did the people who conducted that study come to that knowledge?
Okay, this study was by the Federal Trade Commission. Federal Trade Commission is to protect consumers. They are out here to protect you all, me, you, everybody, against those who prey on the elderly or the disability. So the Federal Trade Commission, we go through different training. They send us different information in the banking world. It is also open to you all as well. Let me get you that website information, and that is www.ftc.gov, and that's the Federal Trade Commission, and they are here to protect you all, and they do the studies. We went to training in Carrollton, Georgia, and they have been doing this study for elderly and disability abuse for many, many years. They have prosecuted so many people, true stories. So the Federal Trade Commission has great tool, FDIC. And of course, they're insured. A lot of banks, FDIC, they protect the consumers. When I tell you they protect you all, so they make us protect you all, and that's what we have to do. So that's why I'd be very on it concerning fraud, because they really want to protect all the consumers, especially with disability and the elderly.
Okay, and my next question is, when things like money mules and things like that, when they come in, or people that's aroused by a message that they got from somebody that they don't even know, saying that their family member in danger, when money is wired to these scammers, how does that affect the bank?
Well, it doesn't affect the bank, it affect the customer. So what we have to do is stop it before it happens. So now at our bank, we put in place questions before we wire out money or any sort like that. We watch customers' account. If we see something crazy, like I have certain reports that I have to monitor, and if I see a fluctuation of different things coming in someone's account, then I begin to question that customer. So to prevent the money mule, we ask a series of questions. Do you know this person? How long have you known them? Where do they live? Different things like that. Before we do any transaction, if we notice that money coming in, if someone come in to open up a bank account and they say, hey, I make cakes or whatever, or it may be something, and they begin to start depositing large checks. Well, we know that most cakes or whatever, it's like people may charge $45 to $65, depends on what kind of cake they are making. If it's a wedding cake, it may be a little bit more. But if they're depositing money into the account that's $2,000 and $3,000, and you're just a small hometown cake baker, then that's a red flag for us. So it does bring liability on the bank in a sense, but we have to stop it before it get out of hand. So that's why we have to monitor certain things. We have certain reports that we monitor. If we see fluctuations, again, like I say, in a customer accounts, that is supposed to be like a cake baker. And if it exceeds what they are saying, hey, I'm only supposed to be depositing this amount, but they're exceeding a whole lot more, that's a red flag. So that probably making them a money mule, where they're moving money in and out of a business account that they're saying they're supposed to be baking cakes, but they're actually moving fraudulent money through an account. So
it almost looks like the money mules, the moving of this money throughout different accounts, like they're trying to clean up the traces or whatever.
Yes.
That's what it seems like to me. And yeah, we need to most definitely. I'm glad that you came on here to make us aware of this, because I'm pretty sure some of us on this in the audience, possibly there might be comments in the audience. I'm pretty sure that some of us in the audience might have been, at risk for fraud. And I did want to say this too: for that Social Security number, we feel comfortable giving our social security number to the Social Security Administration. So that is crazy that they're impersonating Social Security people. Uh, I had went attended some type of another presentation dealing with something similar as this one, and the forensic. I think he was a forensic psychologist, and he told me that. Well, he told us that we should get an IP pin for our social security number to protect us against fraud of people that we gave our social security number to. That's what I've done. It might be prove effective. Uh, try to for those that have gotten their social security numbers, they won't be able to file or do anything with it if they don't have their pin. I don't know. I think that's what it is.
I just have I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just had a quick
too.
I have a quick story. I was in one of your, it was years ago when I first had started a business account, and it was in one of your branches. And I was used to making my deposits with my wife, and then my wife had got sick, and then my uncles had brought me in, and immediately the teller, because she was used to seeing me come in with my wife, immediately thought that something was wrong because I had came in with two other gentlemen, and immediately took the proper steps to make sure that I was secure and okay. And I just was very thankful for that. And I know that a lot of people now are going to different methods than traditional banks, and I think they're just knowing your teller, or your teller knowing you, and having that consistency. They know you come in every week. They know what you deposit. They know you know you by name, and some of your tendencies, and the time of day you come in, and then that will set off red flags. If something changed. Well, my last question would be, during this pandemic, what would you say would be the number one fraud that is going on right now, based on when the pandemic happened versus before the pandemic?
Okay.
Because we know a lot of people took advantage of over the pandemic.
Yes, the number one fraud is the wire fraud, and it's due to sweetheart scams. It is so big. You will be surprised how many people are falling in love over the internet to some imposter, and they send out money. That is like the biggest fraud it is. I know people were saying, oh, the PPP, the small business fraud. Mm-hmm. No, it is the sweetheart scam, and that's what it's called, the sweetheart scam. And people are giving away their money left and right. A lot of it, mostly I see it in women. I had only one male, unless many of them haven't come forward and was embarrassed by it. But a lot of the women are being scammed by the sweetheart scam. So we got to be very careful. Again, it's our duty as bankers, financial institutions, and those inside Western Union. Again, like I said, Western Union now are taking the proper way of asking questions. And the banks has to do the same thing to stop and prevent that type of fraud, because I'm telling you, it is real, real, real.
Okay. We had two comments. Well, actually three. Nada Watson said, thank you. This podcast was very informative. Dushan Dawson says, good evening. Yes, this podcast was very informative. And those are the only comments that we have. But yeah, this really was a good informative podcast, and I was gonna say, if there is anything else that it's pops that the blind community, disabled community is possibly affected by, could you please let Cairo know, and maybe we can have you on here again, and to educate us about it.
Oh, yes, I sure will. I'll come back on, and much information that I take in, I'll give it back. I'll disperse it out, and I'll be happy to come back again.
Okay.
If anyone want to reach you, you have any social media or any email you want to give out, you can at this time if you would like to. That's if you would like.
I don't have a social media. I'm not really social media. I think I have like a Facebook page, but I don't I don't get on it at all. I normally, if I do, I'll get on and speak. If anything like these, like Zoom calls or different things like that.
I wonder, do y'all have like y'all own little seminars on maybe possibly you all's website that they can go to and kind of hear the same thing on the website?
Now we, as the bank, we do have information out there, and we do have it for the blind and the hearing impaired. Like we have different things out there for you all. If you need information concerning fraud or different things like that, we do have that out on our website. And it could give you some information in that it will inform you on different things.
Okay. And would that be the same website, www.ftc.gov?
Now that one has tons. Yes, that's the Federal Trade Commission. That one has tons of information. I encourage you all to get on there. It alerts. So it tells you so much. And we as banks get on there ourselves to gain information, to alert our customers and different things like that. I did say that I was, and Brother Gabriel, I am going to get you those packages out at the church. So you all can have that. It's I'm going to be passing them out to different churches because a lot of the elderly don't get online. Some of them don't and some do. But they're not aware of the scams. So I know a lot of the elderly and disabled may go to church so they can pick up those packages and they can read them and different things like that. So they're so important. But I will get those out to you all.
Do y'all have them in Braille?
I don't, but what I can do is get on the site and see if they do. If so, then I can get them out to you.
Okay.
Yes, I can definitely. I'm gonna write that note down to check on that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I thought of one more thing, Darren, before we let it go. Now, you touched on it earlier, cryptocurrency. We know we're hearing a lot of that now. A lot of the Bitcoin and a lot of the fluctuation up and down, especially with the current conflict. Is it anything concerning fraud when it comes to that? Briefly, that we should be aware of.
With the crypto, not right now. They just want you to get where you can send the money through that type of payment. So right now, I haven't heard anything in the fraud side of it besides just transferring money through that way. But if I get any information, I'll definitely let you know about it.
Okay. Thank you all for coming out. This is Civilized Eyes. You can call us at 877-990-1145. Again, it's 877-990-1145. Call us and let us know what you thought about today's podcast on March 13th, 2022. And if you have any questions, you can also use that phone number about, if you have any questions involving around blindness or blind related subjects. You can email us as well, civilizedeyes.podcast@gmail.com. And make sure you share, like, and subscribe so we can get our message out to other communities and things like that. All right.
divided my time to divide both of the minds. Not in the sense of owning shit like when they say that one's mine. You gotta open your mind so it can open your eyes. And I'm promoting that opening cause I'm noticing potent. As if epiphany's hitting me cause I'm speaking unholy. They're chasing diamonds and rollers, they chasing Rarries and rollers. Ain't my business to focus, make it your business to focus. Cause if you know this, you're not alone if you are devoted. We're about that action, but we're in control, no, we're not reacting.